Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. So glad to have you here again. So today we're going to talk about some Starseed myths that you might be seeing out in the spiritual communities. Definitely seeing a lot of these online, and I want to get to the bottom of a couple of these Starseed myths with you today, which I thought would be a lot of fun. And then for upcoming videos, I want to jump back into my Meet the Cosmos series because you guys were loving that so much, and I had some other videos that have been coming through lately that felt really important, but today I felt like a call to get back into that. So I'm feeling like my next couple of videos will be dedicated to Meet the Cosmos again, so make sure you tune in. I will say, if you haven't caught up yet on that series, head over to the playlist on my channel called Meet the Cosmos and make sure that you catch up, because there is like, I can't even remember all the ones that we've already covered. Egypt, Avalon, we've done Lemuria, we've done an Atlantis video, we've done Mintaka, we've done, oh my gosh, like just so many. Like we've done a lot of GFL stuff. My mind is blanking right now, but there's a lot in that series, so make sure that you go and check that out. And then I have like a list from you guys of people that have made requests for that series. Thank you so much for your requests. I always write them down and save them so that I can go back to them. And I also want you to know that any video request is well received, okay? So I love to know what you want to hear more about, so you can send me video requests by commenting underneath one of these videos. And you can also come and comment on something over on Instagram as well, and I will see them there. Okay, is there anything that I want to share with you before we jump into Starseed Myths? I guess, something that maybe I haven't talked about in a really long time would be that I have really made some big changes to my business, to my website, to Starseed Academy. So if you haven't checked out the website in a while, you might be really surprised at so much of the incredible things on there. So make sure that you take advantage of the link in bio. Go check out the website, actually. Just have a little looky-poo around. There's so much cool stuff happening over there. And then, of course, as you know, I'm always going to recommend checking out the membership group. Oh, the membership is just so incredible. We do 3 live events every month. One of those is a group reading, which is phenomenal. Everybody gets personalized, channeled messages from spirit with usually a theme. There's usually a big theme for each reading, like shifts that you need to make to get into your highest timeline. Or the last one that we did was really cool. The group reading was called Coaching with Spirit, and everybody got an opportunity to ask a question. So you actually got to bring a question with you to the group reading, and everyone got an opportunity to ask their question and get it answered by their team, right? By your own guides, which is so powerful. So that one was really, really good, but they're all the group readings are amazing. So head over to the membership, you guys. The value is so incredible on what you get. There's even an app now, so it makes it easy if you're on your phone. There's a really fun group chat. There's challenges. There's all kinds of stuff happening over there. Okay, so let's jump into today's video. Starseed Myths. They're a little there's no real order to these, okay? It's not like order of importance or anything. I just wrote them down as they came through. All right, so let's hop into the first one. So, and because as I was sitting writing out the notes for this video, I was trying to think of what else? There's probably a lot more, but I just was blanking. What do people fight about on the internet about starseeds? What are the myths? Where's the division? So, I mean, I would definitely, if there's enough people wanting a second video to Starseed Myths, if there's lots of comments under this video, can you also answer this, and this? We can always do a part 2, and that applies to most videos, right? You just have to let me know in the comments, and if there's enough people and it's worth doing a second part. I've done that before with videos for sure. One example of that would be the Ask the GFL video. I did an interview with the GFL, and there were so many people asking, can you ask this? Can you ask this? That of course I was going to do a part 2 for you guys. So always. Okay. So the first Starseed myth is that, okay, how do I even word this? Basically that we're super rare. Starseeds are so rare, and maybe a little bit of ego in there. And that we're that not everybody is a starseed, that we're very rare and very special, and like we came here to be of special service to Earth, and you know, like almost like you're more important or something than like another soul that might be here on Earth. And so the thing about this is like starseeds are actually not rare. What's rare is awakening. Like the 3D AI matrix simulation, whatever you want to call this hologram, is strategically built to keep people asleep. And so if you awaken here, that's what's rare. Awakened starseeds, that's rare. Starseeds, on the other hand, I mean, what makes you a starseed? Other than like, what makes you different from somebody else? What's the definition in your mind of what a starseed is? Because to me, a starseed, the definition would be somebody that has had lifetimes outside of Earth, like on other planets, stars, constellations, potentially even galaxies and universes, right? So I have never done a reading where I did not see that, because every single soul starts out at source, and you can watch the video called Journey of the Soul Through the Universe. Every single soul starts out at source, and then we start making our way as we do a soul cycle through the realms. We do like a descension followed by an ascension. It's actually a circle, the soul journey. So that means that the reason why you have so many memories, maybe if you're very awakened, you have memories of your other lifetimes in the Pleiades, or, you know, as an Andromedan, or as a Vegan or a Venusian. The reason why you would have these higher dimensional memories is because you came down, right? So how else could you have memories of dimensions above you if you didn't descend? So, and every single soul that I have met, like tapped into, done a reading for, all souls have this journey of the soul cycle. So that means that every soul has had lifetimes outside of Earth, because there's no souls, and there's, I know that there is different opinions on this, so take it with a grain of salt, but this is my opinion and my experience, is that there are no souls that are just Earth souls. Like I've never seen a soul that didn't also have a lifetime somewhere else. Yes, we all come from source, but I mean like an angelic lifetime at least. Maybe they did some time in the angelic realms, and then maybe they bounced all the way down to Earth, which is a terrible idea, by the way. You need to slowly make your way down here to really like build up your ability to hold the density. And anyone that I have done a reading for that I would call like an earth angel, that like went from angelic realms and then like either went really quickly through lives or had very few lives, or maybe just went straight to Earth after that, has been extremely, extremely like plagued with suffering from that. They are just so like they suffer with like emotional traumas and just a lot of imbalances and health issues, and like a lot of like a bit of a shattered feeling in their soul. So so again, starseeds are not rare because all souls have had lives outside of Earth. Earth does not create souls. The souls aren't born here on Earth. Earth creates human bodies, but then the souls go into the body. So Gaia is our mother in a way that she's the mother to our physical human form. But all souls are created like from the light of God's source. And we are born in different nebulas throughout the universe. This is going off into a whole other video. Sorry, I always do this. And like there's nobody that is born on Earth as a soul and then they never leave Earth. So basically what I'm saying is all souls are technically starseeds. But the difference is awakening starseed, right? And then there's a little even bigger difference than that. It's like, okay, well, are you an awakened starseed? Okay, now that's kind of rare, honestly, because anybody that's awakened is still the minority here on this world. Definitely. When you think about the size of the collective consciousness, what is it, like 9 billion people on this planet? Definitely we are still the minority, but that will shift. The awakening is going to be a global scale wave. We're doing it in like mini waves as we get there. But then all awakened people, they don't all resonate with the label starseed. Some people really resonate more with like light worker, or or neither. Some people really don't like labels and identities because they feel like they're limiting. Totally understand that. They can be in a way. But that doesn't mean that they aren't starseeds. That doesn't mean just because they don't resonate with the term that they haven't had lives in other dimensions, because they have, right? So again, it's not that starseeds are rare. It's that the awakened souls on this planet are still a little bit rare. All souls are technically starseeds. So here's the little confusing starseed myth here. Or spiritual community myth. Have you ever heard of people talk about the 144,000? It's like, I've seen it. Okay, so it has its origins in Christianity. No, it actually doesn't. It has its origins before Christianity. It has its origins in the tribes of Israel. So like the Jewish people, the Jewish people. It actually started then. So it's in the Bible in multiple different scriptures where they talk about the 144,000 being ruling in heaven as kings with Jesus and having the mark on their forehead of Jesus' name and God's name. Maybe it's called a seal or something like that on the forehead. So this 144,000 idea of there only being 144,000 souls is very much a religious thing, a biblical thing. But I've seen it get mixed up in the spiritual community where people say that they're channeling. And again, like, if you don't resonate with a channeled message, okay, it's likely that they're not using clean and ethical channeling, which is the only way that I teach it. But people's egos are being channeled. And that's a real problem. Ego channeling is very, very prevalent in the spiritual community. So be very discerning. Most people don't even do the basics before they go to channel, which is at least set up a sacred space. But beyond that, you should be really setting up your intentions, your connections properly, asking to have your ego and stuff put to the side so that you're a pure channel, like clean and ethical channeling. This is what I do. But anyway, so I've seen this 144,000 number in the Bible and some other ancient texts, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But what I've seen is that it's really mixed up in now suddenly the spiritual community. I literally just before jumping on this thought, okay, I want to just see if I put in 144,000 channeled message, what comes up. And sure enough, lots of Facebook posts around I wasn't on Facebook, I was on Google just searching. But of course, Facebook is, kind of like a hotbed for ego channeling. And that's just the truth. And of course, that's like one of the first things I saw was like somebody saying that they were channeling, I don't know, Sananda, and then some other one that was supposed to be like a blue ray being. And they're all saying, I am one of the 144,000 divine ones, as if there's this hierarchy of these 144,000 souls that are more divine somehow than you are or I am, or more holy. And that's just not the case, because all souls are source. All souls are life force, which is the light of source. So there is no hierarchy. There just isn't. We're all equal in worthiness. We're all equal in our ability to learn lessons and be wise and have experiences. So, okay, so the 144,000, so then what does it mean? Why was it in the Bible and in these different ancient texts? Well, some of the ideas on the internet or in religion is that the 144,000 is the tribes of Israel. And that is like 12 tribes of 12,000 people, so 12 different tribes. So then it's a bloodline thing. So then if it's the 144,000 from the 12 original tribes of Israel that were good enough to go to heaven and nobody else was, well, what about all their descendants? Because those people have now had probably hundreds of thousands of ancestors and families since biblical times. Look how many people are on the earth. So that really doesn't make any sense. And then there's people like Jehovah's Witnesses where they take it very, very literally. It's not about tribes. It's about, no, there's only 144,000 people that are going to go to heaven. They truly teach that, and that everybody else, if you're like, a good person, you'll get to live in a paradise on earth, but you won't get to go back to heaven, which is like our natural, like where we come from in our home. So that doesn't resonate with me. And then there's something in there also about the Mayan calendar when it comes to 144,000. I'm not super clear on what that is, but something to do with a number around their way that their calendar works. And then so for me, I do see it in I do see this number, 144,000 in many different cultures and civilizations. It gets quoted a lot. So it's something, right? I do not think that it is that starseeds are so rare and we are this, there's only 144,000 starseeds on the earth. Absolutely not. There are way more than that here on earth right now for starseeds. There are way more awakening souls on earth than 144,000. There are millions of us already here. Like, we have a good, like, headway on earth so far with the awakening. So I think it's actually more symbolic, this, okay? So I think it's more about numerology. Some people say that the crown chakra has 144,000 petals. Other people say that the pyramids, there's something to do with like the Great Pyramid, something about like the inner chamber has 144,000 bricks, and it was like very noticeably set out that way. And then so basically that just leads me to think that 144,000 is just a high frequency number. So think about it like sacred geometry. So like these shapes that people use in sacred geometry, it's not what does the shape mean, it's what frequency is coming off of this beautiful, like Metatron star, or the flower of life, or the Fibonacci spiral, all of these beautiful different sacred geometric things. It's not about what do they mean, it's about what's the frequency coming off of them. So I think 144,000 is more about a frequency, because the number is of 12 means completion, and it's 12 times 12, which is completion, times 1,000, which is infinity. So it's completion and infinity is 144,000. So anyway, we'll move on from that. So basically that's all just to say that starseeds are not rare. There's technically every soul that I've ever met and seen, and what I truly believe is that all souls are starseeds because of my definition of what a starseed is. Awakening people are a little bit rare, and then just a little bit of information there about the 144,000 in case you were seeing that anywhere. It's a really interesting spiritual or starseed myth to kind of debunk. Okay, so let's move on. So the next myth that I wanted to talk about is that a lot of people, I have talked about this before, but it's definitely worth mentioning again because there's lots of new followers on my channel. This next myth is that, and it's totally understandable if you believe this because of the way a lot of people talk, but it's important to know the truth, is that you are more than one kind of starseed. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, what kind of starseed are you? And, oh, can you tell me, where's my home planet? And lots of like questions around thinking that they're singular. Like, where am I from? Where's my soul from? Am I Pleiadian? And a lot of people getting, again, because of the human condition, we can fall into like ego around that. And a lot of people being like, dear ones, I am a Pleiadian commander and I'm very important and you need to listen to this message. And the truth is that you're not a Pleiadian commander right now. You're a human. Okay, you came here to be human, and what you're feeling is a connection to a past parallel life. Okay, and then if you really looked at your soul journey through the different lifetimes, you would find out that you were more than just a Pleiadian commander, that you were also a mantis being, and maybe an avian being from Orion, and maybe you were had an angelic lifetime too, which could definitely count as a starseed, and maybe you also have ties to some kind of an ascended master, or you were in those realms before you descended down to Earth. And there's just honestly so many different kinds of starseeds that you could be and have been. And if you think about the soul circle, that journey that we talked about, and if you want to know more about that, there's a whole video about that here on this channel, which I will link. I do link that one a lot because it's important information. To do a soul cycle, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes, maybe thousands, maybe it's actually thousands of lifetimes, but the number is so big. And so there's no way that you're just like one thing. You're multidimensional. That's what multidimensionality is that you're so many things. So, however, it's really important to stay grounded. And when people start learning about starseeds, I get the excitement around it. I get the feeling of finally figuring that you're like, oh, I'm finally figuring out who I really am. That's an important feeling and good for you. And that's so, like, get a Starseed Origins reading. I do these and I call them Akashic readings, because your Starseed Origins are just your past lives, right? Well, I can uncover for you, okay, you've had a lot of lifetimes here, here, here. And then what everyone feels, you know, maybe you resonate with one more than the other and it feels more like home to you. That's fine. That's beautiful. But don't kind of like turn away from the rest of your soul heritage when you are this beautiful multidimensional rainbow warrior, which means all the colors, all the multidimensionality. Okay, so you are many kinds of starseeds. You are not just one. Okay, so don't limit yourself. However, stay grounded, because you're actually a human. Okay, like, you're not a Pleiadian commander in this life. You are not. You are a human being, and you are feeling past life memories coming through, these connections, or maybe not even past, because time doesn't exist, parallel life connections. So probably on some level, on a different timeline, you are that Pleiadian commander as a part of your soul experience that you are having right now. But the other part of you, the focal point of your consciousness in this life, is a human, and you're here to be human, and you have a purpose for being human. So let's stay grounded. Okay, let's remember we're human. We're here to be human. And truly, when I think of myself, who am I really? I don't really even think about the characters that I played as who I really am, because I'm playing a character of a human woman named Jenny. I've played a character of, what are some of my past lives? Why am I blanking? I've played a character of an Avalon being named Vivienne, and I've been an avian being named from Orion, and I've been a Lyran being named Suela. Like, I've got all these lifetimes, and only like a small fraction have come through for me at this point, because you can't, hundreds and thousands, I don't know if you can connect to all of that. So when I think about all of that, and I think about the human that I am, those are all characters that I've played. But the true me is the eternal soul within. It's always the soul within the body. It's always the soul that is playing a role or a character for that incarnation. An incarnation is a lifetime. It has a beginning and it has an ending. And before that, who were you? And then you have this lifetime. After that, who are you? In between lifetimes, who are you? That's the real you. It's the true, pure soul. And souls in between lifetimes go to like an in-between place, which could be called heaven. You could call it, I don't know what you want to call it. It's outside of dimensions, because dimensions are places for incarnations. There are places for lifetimes. Outside of dimensions is where the pure souls exist. You, when you're in between lifetimes, that's who you really are. Okay, so you are a pure eternal soul, like an extension of God's source, an extension of that beautiful life force and that light, with beautiful like layers to your soul from all the lifetimes and experiences that you've had that make you different than everybody else. Your soul signature is like your own special color that no one else has, your own special tone that nobody else has, or sound, your own special frequency that nobody else has. There is something called the soul signature, and it's a compilation of every lifetime you've ever had put together into one soul. So hopefully that makes sense for you. Let me know what you think about that. But you're more than just human, and you're also more than just one kind of starseed. It's like, think bigger, okay? Don't get caught up on the labels and the identities of, oh, but I'm this, I'm an Arcturian. I know I'm an Arcturian. It's like, that is so beautiful that you remember that lifetime so clearly. Like, your awakening is powerful, and that Arcturian lifetime is coming through for a reason. There's something there for you. Soul gift, probably, really for you to reclaim that soul gift and call it into this life so you can use it now. But also, maybe these lifetimes rise a lot of the time because there's some trauma that needs healing. A lot of the lifetimes that come up first are the ones that need healing the most, is what I found. So always remember, whatever lifetime you're looking at, whether it's the human or the starseed or whatever, you are always just playing a role And in between all those roles that you play, outside of dimensions, is the real you, the pure soul. And you can tune into that now. It's inside of your body. The soul sits, like the throne or the seat of the soul is in your high heart chakra. So your heart is here, your throat is here, right in between, kind of where my amulet is the high heart. And for most people, that's where I see the soul sitting for them. It sits right there and it operates this, human body from there, by connecting through brain, sensory, energetically connecting to all of our different like meridians and energy fields and everything to experience life as a physical being, because truly we are not a physical being. We are a spiritual being having a physical human experience. Okay. So that covered a lot of myths probably, right? But if you do want to uncover like your starseed lifetimes, there's nothing wrong with that. There is so much healing to be done there. And there are soul gifts, and there is like a reclaiming of your true self, and you can do soul retrievals, and there's so much wholeness that can come from that journey. So I do recommend to go on that journey, but always just to keep grounded and to remember that you are the eternal soul within. And remember, I do have Akashic readings on my website, so you can book something with me if you want to find out a lot about your soul. Okay, let's move on to the next myth. The next myth is people are stereotyping species or star nations, and it just doesn't work. So the most obvious one is that people are stereotyping all reptilians as bad, and that is not the case. That's like saying all humans are bad, and that's not true. However, a lot kind of are, like they're doing evil things, right? But you can't say all humans are, because look at, there's so many of us that are trying to do so much good and be of service to the light. Okay, so with reptilians, there are some that are, nefariously, like do evil acts and selfish, service to self, right? But then there are reptilians like the Reptilian Council of Light that are not like that and are actually really trying to work alongside councils of light and federations for the betterment of their own species, of course. For there's a lot going on in Draco that's difficult. You know what? That might be a good video to do. And what was my point? And so basically you can't stereotype, oh, well, all Pleiadians are humanitarian, like wonderful people, and all reptilians are evil, because it's not about the outside body they're wearing. It's about the soul within. Again, it comes back to who are they really? So the soul within is the truth, not the, don't judge a book by its cover, basically. So not all reptilians act one way. They're all different. They're just as different as all these humans are, right? So it's truly about the soul within. And if they're of service to self or service to others or a balance of the two, and that's what's going to determine their actions and their intentions and whether we consider them to be shadow or light. So you can't stereotype an entire star nation, like an entire species of starseeds. Saying, oh, all mantises are peacekeepers. Well, a lot of them are, but they're not all, definitely not all. And that's why it's really important to sacred space. Okay, if you're planning on connecting with these beautiful, high vibrational galactic beings, and you want to do some channeling or you want to do some astral travel, set up a really powerful sacred space and a really specific intention so that you are always working with beings of the higher vibration, of the light, that are for your highest good. Throw that in always to your intention, for the highest good of myself, if it's up for you, or if it's for something that you're doing for a larger group, for the highest good of all involved. Use that, because that's a really good intention. And then you might find, like I have, that you have surprising people that show up. So like for me, if I'm stating a really powerful intention that I want to work with these higher beings of light, and then I see a being walk in that maybe looks a little scary, a little intimidating, this is that perfect don't judge a book by its cover scenario, because the soul within is so gentle and so sweet, and we do have to get past the outer appearances, because there are many different kinds of star nations that have maybe a bit of like a shocking appearance, and that is not at all to say that they are like dark or evil or bad in any way. So we really have to look past that. Okay, so that was the third one. The fourth myth that I wanted to talk about was that the Galactic Federation of Light is not the be-all, end-all. Okay, the Galactic Federation of Light is a branch of something larger. It's just a branch. So I think the Galactic Federation of Light, from what I've gathered through all of my different channelings, what it feels like is that they are a Milky Way galaxy federation. Think about it, it's called the Galactic Federation of Light, not the intergalactic, not the universal Federation of Light, the galactic. So our Milky Way galaxy, that's them, the Galactic Federation of Light. We have a branch that serves us and all the things, which is huge. Like the Milky Way galaxy is enormous, right? But there are lots of galaxies with lots of these kinds of federations. And then there is a larger, like, universal hub, what I always see as the grand central sun, right? So not our sun, but the grand central sun at the center of all universes. There is a huge sun, which some people think also might be source, which is possible. And that is where the hub is, which would be like the main, like this, if the Galactic Federation of Light is the smaller branch that's just for a galaxy, then they would be like the main Council of Light, which would include, representatives probably from all different kinds of universes. Okay, so they're not the be-all, end-all, the GFL. I do believe that they are here to, hold as much balance as they can in the universe and as much peace as they can in the universe. But they're not foolproof. They're not going to, they're not gods, they make mistakes. Yes, they are very much service to the light, service to others, and a great resource for us if you can tap into them with clean and ethical channeling, please. But if you can do that, it's a great resource of really, really specific and detailed information that will like blow your mind when you go and cross-reference it. But they're not the top dog, right? And a lot of people think that they are. So that's just something that could be a bit of a myth that needed busting. Okay, the next one is that this is really prevalent, and maybe you feel a little bit this way too, and I've learned differently through so many experiences that have proven this to me. The myth is that the higher dimensions are better. That if a being, a soul, some kind of starseed being or etheric being is in a higher dimension than us, then that they are better somehow, that they know more, they're smarter, they are more powerful, they are all these things. And the truth is that all souls are equal. That is the truth. We are all equal. There is not one soul that is more important than you, but you are not more important than anyone else. And like true confidence and true humility are the same thing. It's just equality. And it's so liberating to feel that way. And these higher dimensional beings may actually know less than you because, again, it comes back to the soul journey, which is a circle, a cycle. So if you start at the top, source, right? You individuate from source, you have a lifetime in the angelic realms. Then you start to do your descension, which is, going down through the angelic realms. Then you're into the 11th dimension of like the ascended master realms, maybe 10th dimensional Arcturians, 9th dimensional, I don't know, like Mantis or Andromedans, like just slowly working your way down 7, 8, or 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And then here we are on Earth, the third dimension, right? And many of us have gone lower, and now we're actually on the ascension back up, and 3 is on the way back up, 3D. Many of us. And again, I'll link the video at the end of this one. You really, really, really should watch The Journey of a Soul Through the Universe. It explains so much. But what I was going to say is, like, if you've done all this descending through lifetimes, you're the one with the wisdom. You're the one with all of the lifetimes, all of the experience, all of the things that you've overcome. You've learned so much more about polarity, shadow and light, how they work together, oneness, shadow work, ascension, descension, healing back to oneness. Like, there's so many, forgiveness. Oh my God, that's such a big lesson for us. There's so many lessons that are happening on Earth that are really advanced. And if a higher dimensional soul that you're channeling, hoping for all the answers from, hasn't actually made their way down to earth yet, they do not have the answers. They'll be able to give you like the perspective from where they're at, but you might have a more complete answer. So just to say that they're not better or worse than you, they're not smarter or less smart than you, they're just have a different perspective. They might actually have less information, but they might have, their perspective is going to be really, really helpful as long as you don't discount your own. You know, you empower yourself to understand that your own intuition, your own wisdom is very, very important. It matters. It's worthwhile. It holds some, like, it holds value. It holds weight. So if you go looking for, you know, to different councils of light or higher dimensional beings for perspectives, use that with your own and find a larger picture from that. Okay, this is what they're saying. Maybe you get a couple of different ideas. Maybe you're channeling from this council of light and over here from them. And then you think, okay, but this is how I feel. And I can see how all these different parts can work together. So just don't ever like put yourself, like your own intuition or wisdom, below anybody, because your like that voice, that quiet voice within your heart is your guidepost. That should be your navigational system, your compass. That comes before all other perspectives and opinions from the outside of yourself. Your soul knows what's best for you more than a ninth dimensional council of light. I promise you that. There's nothing wrong with getting these opinions, but don't lose who you are and what you truly believe and think. And in fact, if you're new to channeling, what can be really helpful is to tune in first and see, well, wait, before I ask someone, what do I think? I really like to do that personally. I will, before I go channel something, I will sit with myself and I'll say, okay, I might not know anything. Like, what video did I do this with? Maybe like the moon video, like I did what happened to our moon video, like what's the truth about the moon. It's really important to like sit with yourself first and be like, okay, how do I feel about this? What's coming through? What emotions, what words, what visions, what's coming up? Okay, write that all down. Okay, now let me go ask Galactic Federation of Light or Council for Humanity or, you know, the Akashic, you know, ancient records of Earth. Let me go ask. And then we have all this information that we can make into a larger picture. Like, this is how I feel. This is what they said. This is, wow, it all fits together. Amazing, right? But you didn't discount yourself. Okay, moving on to number 6. Number 6 is the fifth dimension. 5D is not a place. You don't travel there. You don't journey there. Well, it's a journey within, I guess, but it's not a destination outside of yourself that you can reach. It is a level of growth or frequency within. Okay, so 5D is not a place out here outside of you. It's in here. And it's your level of how high have you raised your frequency back to love. What does 5D mean? It's like 500 hertz and above on the scale of resonance and frequency, which is like basically the frequency of love or higher. So how much of you is vibrating at that frequency, basically. And you become a 5D being when you are like more love than anything else. When you reach a tipping point where more than 50% of your frequency, I guess, is in this love place, and it starts to raise your set point, your frequency set point. So 5D is not a place. It is a level of growth. It is a frequency within. It is something that you arrive to within yourself. Okay, so that means that what is 5D Earth then when people say that? Well, that means that Earth has gone through a transformation. It has healed. It has purged the shadows and the deception. We have brought in the love, and we have united as a species, like a humanity, as humanity. And it means that her Gaia's frequency, just like our own body frequency, soul frequency, has risen to love. So it's a frequency of love. And I really truly believe that we are going to get there. I know that sometimes it's very disheartening the way that the world is, but this is still the purge. So we have to expect that these shadows have to be purged before we can. This is a part of the healing. We are purging and we are healing. But then we are going to experience this golden era where we unite in love and we create the 5D Earth through ourselves. Because like Gaia is going to get there, we're going to get there as individuals. So it's going to become a 5D Earth because it's vibrating at 5D now. But we all have a really important part in that. It's not like some other Earth where we're going to go, oh, I'm going to go here and leave my friends and family behind. You don't leave anybody behind. So please don't have those fears. And I know that this is like one of the biggest eye rolls for me and the things that make me so frustrated when I see like even really large pages on Instagram, spiritual pages, talking about how, I had to unfollow this guy because he was talking so much about how, like, well, you know, I feel bad for the people that don't reach 5D before the end of the year or something like that, because they're going to get left behind. And I'm like, you are inciting so much fear. You are inciting, like, that is ego too. Can you see how that's ego and that's fear? Like, you're not doing anybody any favors teaching like that. Like, it's not true, you guys. It's just not true. And I would be happy to do a video about this. Let me know, where are you confused about this? Because even when we're talking about dimensions, they are not places. They are like a ribbon of frequency. We talk about them like a layered cake because it makes it easier for people to understand. Okay, like think about layers of a cake. Okay, 5D, 6D, 7D. Well, that's easy to understand. Okay, that's a place to get started. But truly, when you get deep into this work, you start to understand that it is all just frequency. And so when we say the seventh dimension, we're really talking about places and souls, beings that resonate at a seventh dimensional frequency, which means that they are above the 5D frequency into like 7D frequency, which is probably, you know, really getting into outside of polarity and back into like a oneness place. So it's not a physical place, it's a frequency. Okay. I could talk about this forever, so I'll stop. Okay. So I've got two more. So the next one is just to let you know that we have barely scratched the surface when it comes to finding out the different kinds of starseeds. Like, we think we know, we do not have any idea, because we have like this much of an idea. Oh, well, you know, I know that there's Pleiadians and Arcturians and Andromedans and Lemurians and da-da-da-da-da, and you think you know it? Oh gosh, it is a drop in the bucket, because this is such a huge universe, multiverse, and because there are like anything that you can perceive of exists. And I have had readings with people, maybe it's a Meet Your Guides reading, or maybe I'm just tuning into their team, and I will have a being walk forward for me, and I do not even know where to begin to try to describe what I am seeing, like a lot of insectoid beings, lots of like, and I'm not an artist, so it's not something I can really draw, although I've tried for people. You've probably seen some of those videos here. But it's like we don't have it all mapped out. There's so much to explore and discover. And that's why our soul journeys are so exciting, because there's so many different kinds of beings that we could choose to be in a lifetime. We've barely scratched the surface. If you can perceive it, it exists, no matter how wacky, weird, and wild that is. One example for you is I did a reading for somebody, and I started seeing her in a lifetime as this like two-dimensional cartoon. I swear to God. It was not like, and I don't even mean 2D like a lower vibration. I mean, like, how else do you describe something flat? Like flat, like not 3D popped out. You know what I mean? Like flat, like a comic. And there was a whole world. There was a whole world of these, like what you would perceive as like a comic book, but they're living. It was like watching things going across a page, and there was this whole world. And I'm like, this is a real place. Like, I don't even know, how do I tell someone that I'm giving a reading to what I'm seeing? Like, that's a challenge sometimes for me. Really, the biggest challenge is trying to tell you guys like the crazy shit that you have been in these other lifetimes, and us trying to figure out together what does this mean for me? And you know, the helpful thing is that your guides always show you something for a reason. So one of my very grounding questions after I try to describe what I'm seeing is, okay, to their guides, why are you showing us this? There must be a reason. And it's always some kind of soul lesson that's coming up right now in their lives. Oh, well, because in this life this happened. And it's, here's how it's affecting you now. And they're like, holy shit, that's real. Like, that is happening. You couldn't have known that, right? Or it's a soul gift that wants to come through. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, this is like a certain, you know, maybe a healing way that you did healing, a modality, a special way that wants to come through now to help humanity. There's a reason that they show it to me, but the stuff is wild. Stuff that there's no name for, stuff that no one's channeled, stuff that nobody's written a book about. Like, there's just so much more. We've literally just scratched the surface. Okay. Last point then. Last Starseed myth is that galactic history has to be the same no matter who channels it. So you could see like a lot of dissonance or difference of opinion when it comes to things like the Galactic Wars, like the Lyran Wars, the Orion Wars, the start of humanity. Some people think they came from the Anunnaki, and in ancient Egypt, a slave race was created of humans. And other people think that humans were first born on Vega, the brightest star in the Lyran galaxy, I think. And that humans actually started as feline beings, and then we evolved ourselves down. Other people say, no, we're the Greys. That's our future, and we're seeing our future as the Greys. How can there be so many different galactic histories, futures, all these things? So it all has to do with timelines, and there are so many. Just like with what I said in the last point, like if you can perceive of it, it exists. This happens to be the same thing with timelines. And here's a great example. So I have asked, so say I'm doing a video about Atlantis, and I'm like, okay, a lot of people talk about the fall of Atlantis, but other people say it never fell. What's the truth? So here I go, setting up my sacred space, you know, my clean and ethical channeling, getting everything removed out of that channel that is my own perceptions or ego or ideas, being a pure channel for information. I connect to the Galactic Federation of Light. Maybe they direct me to a certain council to talk to, as they often do. Say it's a Council for Humanity, whom I work with a lot. And then I ask them, okay, what's the truth about Atlantis? And I wait and I wait and I wait. And they pause, and then they say, which timeline? And then they show me all these timelines of Atlantis. And it's like, oh, and they're like, pick one and we can tell you the truth, but here's hundreds of realities. And it's like, oh, that makes it really difficult. That makes it really confusing. And so their advice was, then you are always going to resonate with the galactic history or the galactic timeline when of the one that you were incarnated in. So if you have an Atlantis lifetime, the Atlantis that you were alive in, the timeline that you incarnated into, is going to feel like your personal truth. And so when people talk about maybe you were there for a fall of Atlantis, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I know that Atlantis fell because I did a past life regression. It absolutely did. And I can see all the proof. And this teacher agrees and that teacher agrees. So anyone else is wrong. And it isn't true that they're wrong, but you're not wrong either. It's that Atlantis timeline is when that happened. And you feel like it's truth because you were there. But for somebody like me, who works with so many different kinds of souls, and they get all these different Akashic readings, and I see Atlantis like this, and then I see it like this, and then I see it like this, I had to very quickly understand that there is no one truth. All perspectives are true. All perspectives are true, especially to the person that lived that. So I just share with them the experience that their soul had, and that's their truth, and that's all that matters. But I know personally that I just had a client maybe an hour ago that said something totally different about, like, just, I mean, that's super rare. Why would two Atlantis customers come to me in the same day? Like, probably not, although crazier things have happened. But I just mean, like, I've done hundreds and hundreds of readings now. And it's like, I can just see that there's no way to pinpoint truth. And so there's really no point in calling people out and being like, that's not true, you're channeling it wrong, you're false light, and all these silly ego things. It's like, no, it is true. You weren't there, so you don't know. You were on this other timeline of Egypt or Atlantis or Lemuria or whatever. So that's what you believe, or Avalon. They were over here and they had a very different experience than you. So then think about Earth. Just to like, let's blow our minds fully. Think about the Earth experience and like, which one? What happens? What's going to happen to Earth? Which timeline? Are we going to ascend? Pick a timeline and find out. Like, there's going to be multiple scenarios. There's going to be multiple realities. There already is. And it all already exists too. So your experience through timelines is your alignment to the frequency of that timeline. So I've perceived in my own life quite a few shifts in my timeline where all of a sudden, like, I have like a cup, like, so many, like, it's so hard to describe, but I have perceived shifts where I've, like, I did it like a trip, I traveled, and I was like experiencing this really beautiful timeline, and it felt super high vibe and aligned and true for me. And then I came back to my regular life and I was like, it felt very weird. And I was like, I'm not supposed to be here anymore. Like, this is the wrong timeline. I don't fit. It doesn't feel right. I feel out of my body. It feels like I'm watching it all out of, like, it just feels unreal in a way. I'm very disconnected and disassociated from it. And that is, like, everybody might have different signals, but that's my signal. It's like, it feels eerily weird. And like, I'm like too awake. like I'm so awake and I'm looking around like, whoa, like, I'm not supposed to be here. And so I make big changes to align back to the timeline where I'm supposed to be, or where it feels the most divinely aligned for me. So that's soul nudges. Make sure you are listening to your soul nudges and make the move. And I did. I moved from Canada to the US when that happened, and totally switched my life, and found that feeling of inner peace again. I'm like, okay, I'm back where I'm supposed to be. But if that happens again, then you need to figure out, ooh, I'm in the wrong timeline. This isn't it for me. This isn't my highest timeline. That's my goal, my highest timeline. Okay, so if that's your goal, then keep listening to your soul nudges. Come and work with me, because that is like a specialty of mine, is getting people aligned to their highest timeline. So that was the end. One final comment is, a lot of people ask, well, is Starseed a limiting belief? Is this too much of a label? Is it too much of an identity? Then why do we even use this? Why even call ourselves Starseeds? And it's really just, again, all about your perception of it. I think it's actually very expansive, because I know that I am the eternal soul within. So I'm not really thinking that the true me is any of the characters that I've played, including the human. The true me is the soul within, right? However, I like to call myself a starseed, and it resonates with me because I'm an awakened soul on Earth that volunteered to be here and has a specific Earth mission or starseed mission to help with the awakening and raising the frequency of the planet and humanity. One awakened soul at a time, or one starseed at a time, I work with them. So for me, I like the label, and it doesn't have to be limiting. Just like light worker, just like human, like, they're all just labels, really. But as long as you remember who you really are, it's okay. It's okay to say, oh, I'm my soul is Pleiadian, Orion, and Andromedan. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you know, like I know, actually you're the soul within. But it's fun to play in the energies of starseeds, to learn about these incredible civilizations, to learn about galactic history. I drink that shit up. I love it. I love it so much. And I know if you're watching this channel, you do too. So there's nothing wrong with that. Don't let anybody tell you that there's anything wrong with that, as long as you stay grounded in the truth of who you are. Okay? Amazing. So that's all I have to say today. This went on long, so we'll end the video. But I just want to say, speaking of highest timelines, guys, if you are ready for that, if you are ready for what I have to bring, as my new label is now the Moldavite Priestess. If you've been watching my Instagram journey, then in my stories, you know why. Because if you know what Moldavite does, need I say more? It just turns your whole, oh, I actually have a piece right here, so that's so funny. So being the Moldavite Priestess, as I think is such a funny thing that people call me. First I was a Galactic Shepherdess, now I'm this Moldavite Priestess. When I align you with your highest timeline, just expect that the shit's going to hit the fan, and you have to understand that that's going to happen when you work with me, because when you align to your highest self frequency, your life will go into a bit of a purge mode, and it's like, wow, this feels, your soul's like, yes, this is it, the highest self frequency, this information that we've brought through, this frequency that we've brought through. And I'm mostly talking about my Starseed CEO program because this is where it's happening for people. I'm aligning people with their highest business timeline, creating the most intense downloads for people where they are literally like, it's stunned, silence, shaking, sweating, taking off layers, crying, over, like blown away by what comes through in these sessions, feels the resonance within the soul, knows that it's true, and then tries to go about their life the way that they were before. And that just doesn't work anymore because all this stuff is going to want to be shifted and changed. I've had so many of my clients say like, okay, my pipes burst. I've had a cold for this amount of time. I just broke up with my partner. You know, all this shit is happening, but I know that that's hard, but if you've ever worked with Moldavite, it's actually the most powerful alignment that you've ever experienced, because we're going to take everything that's not supporting you and be like, thank you for all the lessons, people, jobs, habits, all the things. Thank you so much, but you're not for my highest good anymore. So I'm just going to go, whoop, put you over here, and I'm going to rise. And I'm going to rise, and I'm going to rise, and I'm going to rise to my highest self, my highest business, my highest timeline, where all of the abundance, freedom, fulfillment, love, health, joy, it's all there. It's very real. It's waiting for you. So if you're ready for me, just gonna direct you to the link in bio for Starseed CEO. Go and check it out. If you're a spiritual entrepreneur, this program is for you. If you are ready to like really, really take things to the next level, like, I mean, seriously, step into your power in this way. If you're ready for that level of intensity, it's what I'm bringing. Okay. So, and I know that's not for everybody, but I know that it's for a lot of you. Okay. It's for a very good number of people here that are just waiting to be invited into that frequency and to hold you in that energy. I have 2 different level containers in Starseed CEO so that it's accessible to everybody. It's just honestly changing lives. So it's like my biggest passion right now. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I want to thank you so much if you're still here at the end of the video. You are the OG. I love you. Thank you for your support, soul fam. Like, love you so much. I'm going to remind you to like, share this video, like this video, comment on this video, but don't forget to subscribe because new videos are coming. They always come on Sundays. We're going to be diving back into the Meet the Cosmos, which is going to be a lot of fun. I know I want to do a video about religious programming in the spiritual community because I got to go there. I just got to, it's killing me. And any other amazing video requests that you want to send my way, I screenshot them and then I work my way through them. So send those. Okay. Love you so much. And please remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. I love you, beautiful Starseeds. Thank you so much. Bye.